What if I told you that this person you lost isn't really gone? What if Allah showed you today that this wasn't the end, but just a divine pause? There are silences that speak. There are absences that prepare for returns. This message isn't for everyone, but if your heart beats faster while you listen, then stay until the end. Because Allah is saying to you, this person is coming back. It's not over. 1. The divine whisper. When your heart feels before your eyes see. Do you know what it's like to have a person who won't leave your mind? Not because you're deliberately thinking about them, but because something inside you refuses to let them go. You're going about your day normally, and suddenly, their name crosses your mind. A vivid memory, a familiar feeling, and your heart responds. It's in these moments that many wonder, is it me? Is it just missing something? Or is it Allah who wants me to understand something? But the heart knows. It knows that this is not a simple human emotion. It knows that it's deeper than that. There are thoughts that are sent, not fabricated. There are memories that are activated at the perfect moment, for a reason known only to Allah. When your heart feels what it hasn't seen, it's because your soul has received a truth that your mind has not yet translated. Allah doesn't speak only through words or visible events. He also speaks through impressions, thrills, and subtle synchronizations. And when something must return to your life, He often begins by making your heart tremble. The heart in Islam is a sacred place. It is alive, sensitive, and receptive to divine will. Allah shapes it, tests it, consoles it, but also, He leaves signals there. So when your heart stirs without logical explanation, when it connects to this person despite the distance, it's not always an illusion. It may be the prelude to a return that only Allah can organize. There is a strange calm in these kinds of signs, a calm that doesn't completely reassure, but that prevents you from giving up. You feel without understanding. You continue to walk, but a part of you remains focused on this connection. Sometimes this connection has been broken, painfully, suddenly, unfairly. And yet Allah lets you still feel it. Why? Because it's not over. Because before making a return visible, Allah sows a silent preparation in the heart. It's not an empty hope. It's not an unhealthy attachment. It's an inner vibration that you cannot provoke yourself. It comes from elsewhere. It descends gently. It imposes itself without overwhelming you, and it stays. You didn't do anything to summon these memories. You didn't do anything to dream of this person. You didn't force it, and yet it comes back, again and again. That's when you must understand, your heart isn't crazy. It's connected. What must return often begins by returning to your heart before returning to your reality. You just have to learn to listen to this kind of whisper, not with your ears, with your inner calm, with your silence, because sometimes it's precisely in the stillness that the most important truths are revealed. And if you feel this connection so strong, if you feel that your heart isn't ready to turn the page, it may be because Allah hasn't closed it yet. 2. Permissible separations. When Allah separates to bring us closer. In Islam, we learn that every connection between human beings is subject to divine permission. What we believe to be a definitive break may, in reality, be nothing more than a pause orchestrated by the one who knows the unseen. Just because a person leaves your life doesn't mean they have left your destiny. Sometimes, Allah separates not to punish, but to purify. He separates not because it is the end, but because it is the beginning of a reform. He knows that some bonds can only flourish after being pruned. He knows that two hearts that truly love each other can become toxic if they are not yet ripe for this bond. Separation then becomes an act of divine wisdom. It does not come to destroy, but to teach.
It comes to ask silent questions. Who are you without this person? Who are you before Allah? Is your love a bridge to Him or a wall that separates you from Him? Many want to return, but few ask themselves, am I ready? Ready to love consciously? Ready to build on a solid foundation? Ready to see the other as an amana, a responsibility, a sacred trust, and not as a possession? Because before that person returns, Allah wants to make sure that you won't again damage what He has given you back. It's possible that what you're experiencing now, loneliness, regrets, questioning, is exactly what was needed to elevate you spiritually. Sometimes we can't see clearly when we're too close, so Allah distances us. He creates distance not to hurt you, but to awaken you. And on the other side too, something is happening. You may not see anything, but Allah is working in the invisible. He is preparing that person as He is preparing you. He shapes his heart, cleanses his intentions, invites him to tawakkul, to humility. The two paths are parallel, but they advance toward the same point. And that point is the wisdom of the right time. Because the right time in Islam does not depend on your impatience. It depends on hikmah, divine wisdom. You may want it now. You may cry for today, but Allah Himself looks to eternity. He doesn't want to bring this person back to you in a hurry. He wants them to stay when they return. And for that, sometimes separation is necessary. It is difficult, but it is permissible. It is bitter, but it prepares sweetness. It empties you so that you can be filled in another way. This is how Allah brings people together. Sometimes, by distancing them first. Because true connection doesn't depend on physical presence, it depends on spiritual alignment. And if Allah has taken you away from this person, perhaps He is creating the version of you two, who will this time be able to truly stay united.
3. When Allah shapes you in silence, there are periods in your life that resemble an icy desert. You move forward, but everything seems frozen. You pray, but you hear nothing. You feel, but you do not receive. It is inner winter, a gentle, silent cold, a pause imposed by heaven. But be careful. It is not a void. It is not forgetfulness. It is a concealment full of meaning, for even winter is a divine work. Beneath the frozen surface of the earth, the seed is working. It does not yet bear fruit. It reveals nothing, but it is transforming. You too are transforming. You do not see it. You cannot yet celebrate yourself, but Allah, He is watching you. He knows every crack in your heart. He knows what this separation has shattered. He knows what this silence has taught you, and He knows what you still don't know. Silence is not a punishment. It's a workshop. You are in His hands. He files away your impatience. He gently removes misplaced attachments. He polishes your heart like one polishes a rough stone. And all this happens silently, without light, without applause. And yet, this is where it all begins. What you think is a halt is actually a germination. You no longer feel His presence as before. Perhaps because He wants you to grow in faith, not in comfort. You no longer receive signs from this person. Perhaps because Allah is also shaping them, far from you, to better reunite you one day. There are pains that cannot be explained, and there are silences that cry out for answers. But you still have to learn to listen with the eyes of the heart. The cold you feel isn't against you. It's for you. It slows you down to teach you endurance. It pushes you away to redirect you inward. And in this interior, Allah installs things that no one else can ever offer you: stability, lucidity, sincerity. And if you still feel this connection, despite the winter, it's no coincidence. It's perhaps the only thread that spring has left visible to tell you, I'm coming back. For when Allah forms in silence, it's because He is preparing a beauty that noise could never build. And when he has finished, when hearts have been purified by the frost, spring will come, not with a bang, but with clarity. True connections blossom again, not by the strength of our efforts, but by the permission of the one who turns the seasons of the soul. You are not abandoned, you are being transformed. 4. Invocations that turn souls around. Do you think you can't do anything? Do you think it's over because the person is far away, silent, absent? Do you think you're powerless? You're wrong. In Islam, the believer's weapon is dua, and it's not symbolic. It's real, living, active. It moves the heavens. It transforms hearts. It turns the most rigid situations around. You are not passive. You are never without a solution as long as your hands are raised. Don't run after others. Don't harass human answers. Turn to As-Sama, the one who hears everything, the one who hears even the silence of your pain. Do you want this person to come back? Start by returning to Allah. Invoke, insist, cry, and above all, believe, because every sincere dua is a knock on destiny's door. And sometimes Allah leaves that door closed for a moment, not to ignore you, but so that your faith may become stronger than your frustration. People may tell you, let it go, move on. But if they don't know what your heart feels, it's not up to them to decide when you should give up. It's not their connection. It's not their trial. It's yours. And perhaps Allah gave you this connection as a springboard to Him, not as a prison. Make the other's silence a vibrant cry to heaven. Transform your waiting into worship. Make your pain a space for dialogue with your Lord. Don't think that your dua is lost in the void. Every word, every breath you address to Allah is recorded. And sometimes the answer doesn't come in the form of an immediate miracle, but in the form of invisible changes that slowly rewrite your story. Are you crying? Perfect. Tears are the ink of sincere dua. Can't find the words? Your heart speaks for you. Allah understands sighs. Do you feel alone? You are not. Every time you invoke Him, you are heard. Every time you call on Him, you are accompanied. And all it takes is one decree from Allah, just one, for that person to return. Not when you want it, but when the time is right. And when it happens, you will know it's not because you forced it. It's because you invoked with sabr, with ikhlas, with trust. Destinies change, hearts return, but not by magic, by Allah's permission and by the power of sincere dua. So raise your hands, not to supplicate a creature, but to invoke the creator of your bond. For when Allah decides the time is right, nothing and no one can prevent this return. 5. When returning is a test, not a gift. Everyone wants the other person to come back, but very few ask themselves, what next? You pray, you cry, you call on Allah for him or her to come back. But ask yourself this question: have you understood why this person left in the first place? Because returning isn't always an answer to a prayer. Sometimes it's a trial, a test, a way for Allah to see if you've evolved, if you've learned, or if you're just nostalgic for something you still haven't understood. You want him or her to come back. But are you ready? Ready to welcome this person without making the same mistakes? Ready to love with taqwa, not with dependency? Ready to respect the boundaries Allah has taught you in your absence? Returning is beautiful on the surface, but deep down, it's a mirror. It shows you who you've become. It brings you face to face with your old self, your behavior, your choices, your poorly healed wounds. And if Allah allows this return, it's not always so that it lasts. Sometimes it's just so you can see clearly, so you can see that this bond, as it wasn't healthy, and that what you called love was perhaps a wounded ego, misplaced attachment, or a bond woven in haram. So Allah makes you relive the scene. He brings you face to face with this person, and He looks, not at your emotion, but at your reaction. Will you fall back into the same actions, the same habits, the same lack of boundaries? Or will you approach this return with clarity, wisdom, and submission to Allah? You see, what you call a gift, Allah may call a test. The return is not guaranteed, and even when it comes, it may not be meant to last. But it is always there to teach you something. Perhaps Allah wants you to see this person one last time to bring closure in peace. Perhaps He wants to test you. Will you idolize the bond to the point of forgetting your principles? Will you sacrifice your inner peace to relive an illusion? Or will you stand up this time with strength and faith to lay the healthy foundations of a love aligned with Him? Emotion should not rule. It is Allah's consciousness. Because without taqwa, even the most beautiful return becomes a disguised trap. But if you approach it seriously, with faith, with discipline, then yes, the return can become a new beginning, not a simple step backward, but an elevation, this time guided by what you understood during the separation. So don't be blinded by the joy of rediscovering. Be enlightened by the responsibility of rebuilding. And remember, Allah does not offer a bond to distract you. He allows it to test you. 6. It's not over. Because Allah hasn't said it's over. It's not over. Do you hear it? That soft, discreet, yet powerful whisper. It's not the end. Because Allah hasn't said it's the end. There are silences full of life. There are absences filled with meaning. And there are departures, which are only detours in the divine decree. You look at what's missing. Allah, for His part, looks at what He is creating. It's not over. Because deep down inside you, there's still that strange peace, that feeling that something is brewing. You don't understand how, you don't see when, but you feel that it's not over. It's not an obsession, it's not a whim. It's a calm that comes only from Allah, a form of yaqan, quiet certainty, which doesn't push you to run, but to remain standing, to wait without giving up. You continue to pray. You continue to get up. You continue to take one step after another, even when the road seems empty. And you know why? Because faith isn't seeing. It's moving forward anyway. And as long as Allah hasn't closed the door, as long as your heart hasn't been hijacked by the one who controls it, then no, it's not over. Look around you. Birds don't doubt the sunrise. Flowers don't resist spring. So why shouldn't your heart, which belongs to Allah, still welcome a return that He orchestrates in the invisible? Don't linger over forcing destiny, but be ready to welcome it if it returns. Purify yourself, deepen your faith, repair what is between you and Allah, because it is when your bond with Him becomes strong that other bonds find their balance. Yes, sometimes you doubt. Yes, sometimes you wonder if you're not waiting for nothing. But even in these moments, remember, Allah sees what you don't see. He hears what you no longer even express, and He knows what your heart needs to find or let go of. But as long as He hasn't told you it's over, you don't have to bury yourself alive. Continue to live, to learn, to love for Him. And if this return is written, it will come at the exact moment when it is meant to make you grow, because this is not the end. This is not a dead end. This is not a wall. This is a pause full of promise. And when Allah decides it's time, everything that was distant will effortlessly come closer. Everything you thought was lost will wisely return, and everything you thought was extinguished will shine again. Because it's not over until Allah says it's over. If this message touched your heart, it's no coincidence. Allah teaches you that what seems finished to the eye can still live in His wisdom. Take this time to strengthen yourself, to pray, to grow, and prepare to welcome what God brings into your life. Share this video if you know someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment with what your heart felt. And above all, subscribe if you want to hear other reminders that speak directly to your soul. Because when Allah speaks, the heart recognizes the truth.